My name is Janice Quinlan. I've spent the last 33 years in Thailand. I went to Thailand in 1985, and the first few years I worked on a church planting team project, and then for 20 years I taught New Testament at Northeastern Bible Seminary. And then in 2012 I became the country director for the Christian Missionary Alliance in Thailand. When I was 7, an elderly couple in my neighborhood started picking up children and bringing them to Sunday school, and I was one of them. And that little church met in a fire station on the 2nd floor, and it was a very homely little building, but it was through missionaries coming every year and talking about what they were doing that I began to develop a burden and a love for cross-cultural ministry. Well, I always had a love for Southeast Asia, and I guess because I grew up during the Vietnam War, I had an older brother who was a soldier in Vietnam, and we had a number of missionaries from Vietnam who would come through our church. And so I had a love for Vietnam, and as a child, I can't remember ever saying a prayer before bed or before a meal where I didn't pray for the church in Vietnam. But in 1985, there were no visas available for Cambodia, Laos, or Vietnam. The only country at that time was Thailand, so that's why I chose Thailand, because I loved that part of the world. When I got there on September 10th, and I was told, wow, you know, that's a really good time of year. It's kind of towards the end of rainy season, it's not too hot. I was overwhelmed at the humidity and thought, if this is a good time of year, I don't know what is. And after 4 days, I was registered to attend language school, where I studied Thai language 6 hours a day for the next 2 years. And after my first day, because Thai is a tonal language, and they have their own alphabet and their own writing system. After the first day, I remember going home, sitting in my little room, tears running down my face, saying 3 years, 11 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, counting to when I could go on my next home assignment. But of course, the language did come, and I taught in the Thai language when I was at the seminary. I taught mostly New Testament courses, but whenever someone would leave or somebody went on home assignment, you have to pick up other things. So sometimes I would teach Old Testament survey or whatever needed to be taught. We also had a philosophy at our Bible school that since there weren't as many academic books translated into Thai, that we would let our Thai teachers choose first, and we would take whatever they didn't teach. And I always believed that, but it wasn't always easy, because sometimes you just feel like you're finally getting good at something and someone else would want it and you'd have to start over again. But yeah, they didn't have the English resources or weren't good enough in English to be able to study from English textbooks. So in principle, that's really the right thing to do. They're all Thai or people from our neighboring countries where there are no Bible school. And Thai education is largely done through rote memory. So they learn a bunch of facts, they spit it out, and then they get to college and we're like, no, you need to start thinking these through and you need to write essays. And the first semester, and sometimes the whole first year, would be really a challenge because they wanted to know all the dates and the facts, but they didn't know how to think through and handle writing an essay. So, by the second, third, fourth year, they were really using their mind, and it was a wonderful, I loved it. I never thought I'd do anything else than teach there. We have a very high success rate. Over 90% of our students have gone into ministry. And one of my other responsibilities at the school was to oversee their weekend ministry assignments and internships. So every weekend I would be somewhere in the Northeast region listening to them teach Sunday school or give the morning sermon. And so I had a lot of hands-on relationship with them beyond the classroom. And in Thailand, a teacher is a lifelong relationship, and probably next to parents, they're very highly revered in Thai culture. And so I attended their weddings, held their babies. So when I became the director of the mission and had to move to Bangkok, almost all of our pastors were my former students. And so I could talk to them about tough things that another person would not be able to do just because I had a long history with them. And so I could see that as part of God's preparation for me for the role that I would later hold as the country director in having a long-term relationship with these Bible school students. The Hmong tribe in North Thailand, people tend to get married younger, and for them to be respected in their community usually involves being married rather than being a single person. So sometimes they'd come with 3 or 4 children already who could be in elementary school or something like that. So it wouldn't be very many years before they would be done and their children would be ready to come. And then, for the first few weeks they would call me auntie until they made the switch. And then they would start calling me Ajan, which means teacher. One joy for us is to see that some of our graduates have now moved on to become district superintendents and are now overseeing a region of pastors. And because the Bible school is located in the poorest economic region of the country, many of our pastors have to sell soybean milk or spring rolls in the market to subsidize their church planting efforts. But as I've seen some of our senior graduates take alongside some of the younger graduates, like Runkana, he's very good at helping young pastors find a skill that they can do that doesn't eat up all of their time, but also gives them a viable meaning in their community so people know them and see them every day by having a little stand in the market in the afternoon after school, or selling pancakes at the school when kids leave school and they want to buy a little snack or something like that. So I'm especially proud of them who are doing everything they can so the next generation of pastors will be successful. I'm so thankful to God that I was able to spend these 33 years in Thailand. I would say that I'm pretty wired for Thailand, and I think it's been a good fit for me in so many ways. But now I can look back over 33 years and see God at work in so many families and situations. And as God was faithful to me, He will be faithful to you. And as He brought me through, He'll bring you through.